I've been working on EDT's hashtag mini Dolly diorama challenge, and I'm not finished, but it's Halloween, so it seems like I should show off what I have so far. I'm going to cover this in order of interestingness, starting with the boring stuff and then finishing with the cool stuff. In the original challenge video, EDT said something about a gothic diorama for a vampire doll, and I was like, I want to do that. So that's basically the reason that I did it and the whole point of doing this. And also I had this box handy. The stone walls are just craft foam cut into squares, white craft foam, painted with watered down black acrylic to get a stone look that is pretty okay. I tried to texture them a little, but it didn't get much of an effect. It looks fine. The door is made from cheap craft store wood, and the blocks, you can see that I painted these before I glued them in place. I kind of wish I had done that for the blocks on the walls, but it's fine. For these windows, I used EDT's technique of printing out a bunch of templates and then gluing those onto a piece of cereal box or whatever, and then cutting those out, and then gluing them in layers to get exactly the level of dimensionality you want. And then when you paint it, it doesn't look like cardboard at all. I think they look fantastic. The floor is the opposite of the walls. It's black craft foam with white paint that instead of being watered down, it's dry brushed on. And I think it's pretty convincing. One of the requirements of hashtag mini Dolly diorama is a console table. I'm still not sure I know what a console table is, but one or the other of these must qualify. The one on the left I built myself, but I couldn't get the legs to stay in place without using hot glue, which is kind of a pain. The other one I just bought and painted. Another requirement is a bowl or tray. Well, these bowls are air dry clay formed around some round thing that I had handy, and they're kind of janky. They were not expertly formed, but they work. Another requirement is some books or magazines, and these I'm super happy with, especially that one on the left. The covers are just cereal boxes, cut and then painted and folded into the right shape. And then the pages are just strips of sketchbook paper that have been folded up, accordion up, and then glue in. And then once they're glued in, you snip the outside folds like with a real live old-fashioned book. What makes them look really convincing, though, is taking some sandpaper to them and scuffing all the outside edges. And it looks fantastic. Yes. We also need to have some kind of storage item. This basket is from a technique that's in a lot of videos you can find on YouTube, where you just put plain old string around a form, but you suffuse the string with enough glue that when it all dries, it forms a rigid body. I used too much glue on this one, probably. We're also required to have a large wall decoration. I have an idea for my large wall decoration, but in the meantime, here is a smaller wall decoration. This alligator cost me 20 Australian dollars, and I'm only using like 2 inches of it. But now I have a headless alligator toy floating around my house, which is nice. We gotta have a plant. This guy's name is Heath. He's basically made out of paper, but there's a wire in his stem that the paper is wrapped around, so he's a little bit posable. The flower pot is just a weird piece of plastic that I had handy, and I put a bunch of paint on it until it looked like it was made out of something else. This doll was not created for this diorama. He is native to another project, but we have to introduce him here because I wanted this whole scene to be compatible with him. His name is Greesh, and he has his own cool apartment that I guess I should make into a separate video. But when I made a doll specifically for this scene, it needed to be a doll that was basically the same scale as Greesh. And here she is, Gondoline. Her eyes are doll eyes from the hobby store, but everything else about her is handmade, as you can probably tell. I really wanted to make basically a Morticia Addams doll, but of course, every detail isn't quite as slick or as slinky as I was envisioning, which means she is unique and interesting. I'm really happy with how I managed to give her a legitimate hourglass figure. I think that's pretty amazing given what I was working with. I wish I could do more with her hair. I'm still trying to figure out how to style wool roving as if it were hair, but the frizziness does give her a lot of character. And there's a jug. I didn't make the jug. My friend Katie gave me the jug. What is left? I need a large wall decoration. I need a small picture. I need stuff to go in those bowls and the basket. More little tiny details. And I need to have a light source. I considered saying that the moon is the light source, but we can do better than that. Thank you, EDT, for issuing this challenge and giving me an excuse to make all these cool things. Happy Halloween!